You've heard of bone broth for breaking fasts, but what did people do before it became a health trend? Imagine a world without modern supplements, where our ancestors still mastered metabolic health. This video dives into their secrets, revealing practical, accessible strategies they use to reintroduce nutrients and avoid insulin spikes, a wisdom we can still apply for incredible longevity. Here's the thing, your great great grandmother never ordered collagen peptides from an online store. Your ancestors from 1,000 years ago never consulted a nutritionist about their post fast macros. And yet, generation after generation, they thrived, they healed, they lived with a metabolic resilience that modern science is only now beginning to understand. So, what did they know that we've forgotten? What simple, powerful techniques did they use to break their fast without expensive products or complicated protocols? By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how ancient cultures across the globe approached the sacred art of refeeding. You'll learn why their methods were often superior to what we see promoted today. And most importantly, you'll walk away with actionable strategies you can implement tonight. Let's unlock this forgotten wisdom together. Here's a question that might challenge everything you've been told about fasting. If bone broth is truly essential for breaking a fast, how did humanity survive for hundreds of thousands of years without it? Think about that for a moment. The fasting supplement industry is now worth billions of dollars. Scroll through any health platform, and you'll find endless products marketed as must haves for your fasting routine. Electrolyte powders, specialized broths, collagen mixes, amino acid blends. The list goes on and on. But here's the paradox, our ancestors faced fasting not as a trendy biohacking technique, but as a regular part of survival. Food was seasonal, hunting was uncertain, weather patterns dictated availability. Fasting wasn't a choice, it was reality. And yet, without any of these modern products, they navigated these transitions with remarkable efficiency. How? Why? The answer lies in understanding what I call the ancestral wisdom gap. Modern health culture has become so obsessed with optimization and specialized products that we've overlooked the elegant simplicity of traditional practices. Picture your metabolism as a wise old engine. This engine has been running in human bodies for over 200,000 years. It doesn't need premium fuel that was invented last decade. It was designed to run on the foods and patterns that shaped its evolution. Now, I want to be clear about something important. This isn't about shaming modern methods or saying bone broth is bad. Bone broth is wonderful and nutritious, but it's one option among many. The problem comes when we believe we cannot fast successfully without specific product. That belief is not only historically inaccurate, it creates unnecessary barriers for people who want to improve their health. Across every continent, across every culture, our ancestors developed sophisticated approaches to breaking fasts. They understood, through generations of observation and experience, exactly how to transition the body from a state of not eating to a state of nourishment. They didn't have scientific laboratories, they didn't measure insulin spikes, they didn't analyze blood glucose curves, but they knew. They knew because this knowledge was survival. Eating the wrong thing after a period of scarcity could cause severe digestive distress. Consuming too much too quickly could actually make you sick. These weren't abstract health goals. These were immediate, practical concerns. And the solutions they developed, they were brilliant. Let me take you on a journey through these ancient practices, because what they discovered through necessity, we can apply today by choice. If you traveled back in time and watched someone break a fast, what would you see? In most cases, you wouldn't see anything complicated. You'd see simplicity, you'd see patience, you'd see a deep respect for the digestive system's need to wake up gently. Let's start with one of the most common ancestral approaches, fermented foods. Long before we understood probiotics and gut microbiome science, traditional cultures knew that fermented foods helped settle the stomach and ease digestion. From sauerkraut in Eastern Europe to kimchi in Korea, from miso in Japan to kefir across Central Asia, fermented foods appeared in nearly every culture's first meal traditions. Why did this pattern emerge independently across so many different civilizations? Because fermented foods are essentially pre-digested. The fermentation process breaks down complex compounds into simpler forms. This means your digestive system doesn't have to work as hard. The beneficial bacteria in these foods also help repopulate your gut, which may experience some bacterial shifts during fasting. Think of it like warming up before exercise. You wouldn't run a marathon without stretching first. Your ancestors understood that your digestive system needed a similar gentle awakening. Another universal pattern: gentle fruit. In tropical regions, ripe, soft fruits were often the first food consumed after a fast. Papaya in South America, dates across the Middle East, mangoes in South Asia. These foods shared common characteristics. They were easy to chew, they were easy to digest, they provided quick, natural energy without overwhelming the system. The natural sugars in these fruits provided a gentle glucose signal to the body. But because they came packaged with fiber, water, and nutrients, they didn't cause the dramatic blood sugar spike you'd get from processed foods. Here's something fascinating. Many cultures specifically avoided heavy proteins and fats as first foods after fasting. This goes against some modern advice that emphasizes protein for breaking fast. But there was wisdom in this approach. Protein and fat require significant digestive effort. Your stomach needs to produce more acid. Your pancreas needs to release more enzymes. Your gallbladder needs to release bile. When you've been fasting, these systems have been resting. Asking them to suddenly process a heavy meal is like waking someone from deep sleep and immediately asking them to solve complex math problems. Ancient peoples often saved the heavier foods for the second or third meal after a fast. The first meal was gentle, warm, easy. Speaking of warm, let's talk about broths and infusions that predated our modern bone broth obsession. Vegetable broths, made from whatever was locally available, provided hydration, minerals, and warmth without demanding much digestive effort. Herbal teas and infusions were used across cultures to prepare the stomach for food: ginger in Asian tradition, chamomile in European traditions, mint across the Middle East. These weren't random choices. These plants contain compounds that genuinely support digestion. They stimulate digestive enzyme production, they soothe the stomach lining, they promote healthy motility. Our ancestors didn't know the chemistry behind these benefits, but they observed the results, and they passed this knowledge down through countless generations. Then there were the porridges. From congee in China to oatmeal in Scotland to gruel across Africa, slow-cooked grain-based foods appeared as fast-breaking staples worldwide. These foods were cooked until soft, sometimes for hours. This long cooking process began the breakdown of starches before the food even entered your mouth. The result was a food that was easy to digest, warming to the body, and sustained energy without dramatic blood sugar swings. Notice what all these traditional first foods have in common. They're simple, they're local, they're gentle, they don't require special ordering or premium pricing. They represent what was available, prepared in ways that honored the body's needs. This is the forgotten wisdom we need to reclaim. Now let's address something that modern fasting enthusiasts obsess over: the insulin spike. You've probably heard that the way you break a fast can either preserve your metabolic benefits or undo them entirely. There's truth in this, but there's also a lot of fear mongering that misses a crucial point. Our ancestors managed this challenge every single time they ate after scarcity. They did it without continuous glucose monitors. They did it without tracking apps. They did it without worrying about ketone levels. How? The first strategy was portion size, or more accurately, the natural limitation of portions. When food was scarce, you didn't break a fast with an all-you-can-eat buffet. Even when abundance returned, traditional eating patterns involve measured initial portions. The stomach was honored as an organ that needed gradual reintroduction. Many cultures had specific traditions around this: small bowls, shared dishes, where everyone took modest portions, eating rituals that promote naturally paced consumption. This wasn't about restriction or deprivation, it was about respect for the body's signals. Here's a biological truth modern science has confirmed: your stomach actually shrinks slightly during extended fasts. The stretch receptors in your stomach become more sensitive. If you pay attention, your body will tell you when it's had enough. But here's the problem: modern eating has trained many of us to override these signals. Our ancestors didn't have that problem. They ate until satisfied, not until stuffed. And this natural moderation prevented the massive glucose and insulin spikes that come from overeating after fasting. The second strategy was eating speed. Across traditional cultures, eating was rarely rushed. Meals were social, meals were savored, food was chewed thoroughly, and consumed at a pace that allowed the body to register fullness before overconsumption occurred. This isn't just philosophical. Modern research shows that eating slowly genuinely reduces glucose response. Your brain needs about 20 minutes to register satiety signals. When you eat slowly, you naturally eat less and experience better blood sugar control. Our ancestors ate this way by default. No one was rushing to get back to their email inbox. The third strategy was food combining. While formal food combining theories are somewhat controversial in modern nutrition, ancestral eating patterns naturally incorporated principles that supported stable blood sugar. Fiber was consumed with starches, the vegetables were gathered with the grains, fat and protein are often accompanied by carbohydrate foods. This slowed digestion and smoothed the glucose curve in ways that eating isolated nutrients cannot. A piece of fruit eaten after a fast alongside some nuts will produce a very different metabolic response than that same fruit eaten alone with a glass of fruit juice. Our ancestors, by default, ate whole foods in combinations that naturally moderated blood sugar response. The fourth strategy was timing. Many traditional cultures had specific times for eating. The first meal after religious fasts often occurred at sunset, allowing for gentle eating before sleep. Morning eating in many cultures was light, with heavier meals in the afternoon. These patterns align with our circadian rhythms in ways that modern eating often doesn't. Your metabolism is not equally efficient throughout the day. Research shows that the same food consumed in the morning versus late at night produces different glucose responses. Traditional eating patterns are often naturally optimized for these biological rhythms. And here's perhaps the most important lesson. Our ancestors trusted their bodies. Before we had terms like intuitive eating, traditional cultures simply ate according to internal cues. Hunger meant eat, satisfaction meant stop. Energy levels and well-being guided food choices over time. This internal wisdom still exists within you. It's been drowned out by marketing messages and conflicting dietary advice, but it's there, and reconnecting with it might be more valuable than any supplement you could buy. Speaking of reconnecting with wisdom that supports your health, if you're finding value in this video, you'll love what we share on the Core Health channel every day. We're dedicated to bringing you practical, science-backed health and wellness tips that cut through the noise and give you real strategies you can use. From morning routines that actually work to nutrition advice you can trust, we're building a community of people who want to take control of their health without getting caught up in fads or expensive products. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. We're in this health journey together, and I can't wait to share more with you. Now, let's continue with the ancient wisdom. All right, so we've explored what our ancestors did, but here's the question that matters most. How do we actually apply this in our modern lives? Because let's be honest, you probably don't live in a traditional village. You probably have a refrigerator full of options and a busy schedule that doesn't allow for hour-long meals. So let's bridge this gap. Let's take ancestral wisdom and make it work for your life today. First practical application. Rethink your first meal. When you break your fast tonight or tomorrow, don't reach for what's most appealing or most convenient. Reach for what's most gentle. This could be a small portion of fermented vegetables, just a few bites of sauerkraut or kimchi. It could be a handful of soft fruit, like berries or a ripe banana. It could be a small bowl of vegetable soup. It could be some plain yogurt if you tolerate dairy well. Notice I'm not giving you a specific product to buy. I'm giving you categories of foods that your digestive system will thank you for. Whatever you choose, let it be simple, let it be small, let it be the appetizer to your meal, not the meal itself. Give your body 15 to 20 minutes to adjust, then move on to your fuller meal if you're still hungry. Second practical application, slow down. I know this sounds almost too simple to matter, but the speed at which you eat genuinely changes how your body processes food. Here's a challenge for your next fast-breaking meal. Put your fork down between bites. Chew each bite thoroughly. Notice the flavors and textures. Allow at least 20 minutes for your meal. This single change can reduce glucose spikes, improve digestion, and help you eat appropriate portions without any willpower required. Your ancestors didn't need this reminder, their lives naturally incorporated slow eating. But in our rushed modern world, intentionality is required. Third practical application: question the marketing. The next time you see an advertisement for a must have fasting product, pause. Ask yourself a simple question: how did humans manage before this product existed? If the product had been available to your ancestors in some form, perhaps in the form of whole foods rather than powders and supplements, it might have genuine value. If the product is completely novel, be more skeptical. This doesn't mean all modern products are bad. Some genuinely help, but approach them from a place of curiosity rather than fear. You don't need them to fast successfully. They might enhance your experience, but they are not requirement. Fourth practical application: listen to your body. This might be the most important lesson of all. Your body has wisdom that goes back hundreds of thousands of years. When you break a fast, pay attention. Does that first food sit well? Do you feel energy returning, or do you feel sluggish and heavy? Does your digestion feel smooth, or do you experience discomfort? These signals are valuable data. Over time, they'll teach you exactly what works best for your unique body. This personalized wisdom is more valuable than any generic advice I or anyone else can give you. Our ancestors didn't have one-size-fits-all protocols. They had tradition as a starting point and personal experience as their guide. You can combine both. Now let's bust a few myths while we're here. Myth number one: you must consume protein within a specific window after fasting or you'll lose muscle. This fear is vastly overblown for the types of fasting most people practice. Your body is remarkably efficient at preserving muscle tissue. And the gentle refeeding approach we've discussed doesn't mean avoiding protein. It means introducing it gradually rather than as your first bite. Myth number two: your fast is ruined if you break it incorrectly. Benefits of fasting don't evaporate based on your first meal choice. Yes, some breaking strategies are better than others, but even an imperfect fast breaking meal still follows a beneficial fasting period. Progress over perfection, always. Myth number three: modern science has made ancestral wisdom obsolete. Actually, the opposite is often true. Modern research frequently confirms what traditional practices suggested all along. Fermented foods support gut health. Slow eating improves digestion. Gentle refeeding supports metabolic health. We're not discovering new truths, we're rediscovering old ones. Let's zoom out for a moment and see the bigger picture. Your metabolism is not a problem to be solved. It's an ancient system to be respected and supported. For too long, the health industry has treated your body as something broken that needs fixing. They've sold you solutions to problems you might not even have. They've created fear and confusion where simplicity and wisdom once existed. But here's what I want you to remember. You come from a long line of survivors. Every single one of your ancestors lived long enough to reproduce. They did this without supplements, without apps, without optimization protocols. They did it by living in harmony with natural patterns and trusting their bodies. This heritage lives within you. When you fast, you're not doing something strange or extreme. You're returning to a pattern your body evolved to handle. When you break that fast with simple, gentle foods, you're honoring thousands of years of accumulated wisdom. Think about where you'll be 1 year from now if you embrace these principles. Instead of stressing about the perfect fasting protocol, you'll feel confident in simple approaches. Instead of spending money on products marketed as essential, you'll find nourishment in whole foods available at any grocery store. Instead of overriding your body's signals, you'll be in tune with what your unique system needs. This isn't just about fasting, it's about reclaiming your relationship with food, with your body, with health itself. The path forward isn't more complexity, it's elegant simplicity, it's trust, it's patience. Your ancestors faced challenges we can barely imagine. Food scarcity was real, survival was uncertain, and yet they developed practices that kept them healthy, practices that we can adapt for our very different lives. Here's what I want you to do tonight. If you're currently fasting or planning to fast, approach your next meal differently. Choose gentleness over optimization. Choose patience over rushing. Choose trust over fear. Start with something simple. a few bites of fermented vegetables, some soft fruit, a small bowl of broth or soup. Let your digestive system wake up slowly. Then, when you feel ready, enjoy a fuller meal, eat slowly, chew thoroughly. Shop when satisfied, not stuffed. This doesn't require special products. It doesn't require perfect execution. It just requires a shift in approach. And if you're not currently practicing any form of fasting, perhaps tonight is the night to start. Extending your overnight fast by just a few hours, skipping the late night snack, and giving your digestive system true rest. These are simple entry points. Because here's the truth we've been building toward throughout this entire video. True health isn't about chasing the latest fad. It's not about having the most sophisticated supplements or the most complex protocols. True health often means returning to the timeless wisdom of our ancestors. It means trusting that your body knows what it's doing. It means simplifying rather than complicating. The wellness industry might not want you to hear this. There's no profit in telling you that simple, affordable, accessible foods are all you need. But it's the truth. You don't need bone broth to break a fast successfully. You don't need expensive products or elite knowledge. You need patience. You need gentleness. You need trust in the ancient wisdom that lives in your cells. This is your birthright. This metabolic resilience is part of who you are. You're not learning something new. You're remembering something old. Before you click away to your next video, I want you to commit, not to me, but to yourself. Tonight, whether you're breaking a fast or simply eating dinner, try one thing from this video. Just one. Maybe you start with a small, gentle first food before your main meal. Maybe you put down your fork between bites and truly slow down. Maybe you simply pay closer attention to how different foods make you feel. One small shift, practiced consistently, leads to profound transformation over time. If this video gave you value, share with someone who needs to hear this message. There are so many people stuck in fasting frustration, convinced they need products they can't afford or protocols they can't follow. Let them know there's another way, a simpler way, an ancestral way. Drop a comment below and tell me which ancient practice you're most excited to try. Was it fermented foods, slower eating, the gentle first food approach? I read every comment and I'd love to hear from you. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We release new content regularly, and the health wisdom we share could genuinely change your life. Your ancestors survived and thrived without the modern wellness industry. You can too. Trust your body. Honor its wisdom. Break your fasts with patience and gentleness. And remember, true health has always been available to you. Sometimes we just need to look backward to move forward. Until next time, take care of yourself. Your ancestors would be proud